I'm a skeptical robot.
ヒップホップの神といえば誰？シンガーでビッグなのは誰？エンタメの大黒柱は誰？ワールドカップに出てくるのは誰？グミグミグミグミグミグミグミヒップホップの神といえば誰？シンガーでビッグなのは誰？エンタメの大黒柱は誰？ワールドカップに出てくるのは誰？ヒップホップの神といえば誰？シンガーでビッグなのは誰？エンタメの大黒柱は誰？ワールドカップに出てくるのは誰？グミグミグミグミグミ
surges in the war-torn haze. Fragmented sounds smother the clashing blaze. Sonic strikes carve through the midnight despair. A trophy forging chaos, raw and rare. You cannot run, you cannot hide. The hunt is calling, it's time to die. Riff, hunter, I strike with sound. Six-string fury, shaking the ground. No escape, no place to hide. thing you hear, my guitar blade. Riff hunter, I strike with sound. Six-string fury, shaking the ground. No escape, no place to hide. The hunt is loud, the metal guides. I'm the riff hunter, metal's might. Forging legends in endless fights.
Body's ready, my heart's on fire. I'm gonna push you over the wire. Perfect timing, tight as a drum. You find the battle's already won. I'm taking hold of every moment, given strength by the breath of life. I'm gonna stake my claim. I'll fight to survive. I've worked hard every night and day, so I'm prepared to make my way. Mind and body are a perfect team. Now's my chance to live my dream. I'm taking hold of every moment, given strength by the breath of life. I'm gonna stake my claim. I fight. Thinking nothing could go wrong. But now I know she has a built-in ability to take everything she sees. And now it seems I'm falling for her. She seems to have invisible touch.
Hello. Welcome to Skeptical Robot. Thank you so much for being here. I should be dancing. Isn't this such a great song? I hope everyone can hear it. All right, that's enough of that. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We have a great show tonight. Thank you. Unfortunately, one of my co-hosts cannot make it tonight. Mr. CORNdiff is traveling. But with me, as always, is the sneaky cat with the amazing brain, Mr. Gummi Chainsaw. What's up, Gummi?
Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope y'all having a good time, even though we just started.
We
tired.
have a fantastic show planned tonight. I'm excited. This is a topic that we have been we've been talking about doing for a while, and we're finally doing it. But before we get started here, we have some gifted memberships. Chunksta. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted Luigi Greenberg memberships, and also thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also, Chunksta, thank you for the $4.99. When Luigi sees an alien bumper sticker, he sings the OMC song How Lazar. Mike Walker farts, candy and spices, and tricolored pastas for all. Enjoy. That one actually took me a little while. I read it for like probably a minute, and I was like, How Lazar? And finally sunk in. I got it. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, wait, I do owe something. Let's see. How about this?
Thank you for the super chat.
Oh my God!
Thank you. All right, folks, we have an amazing guest backstage. He is doing his charity work. He is making his tour for these poor, unfortunate shows. He is awesome. He is the godfather of the Dabbleverse. Let's go ahead and bring him out. Please welcome our guest, Mr. Karl Hamburger.
You think you got a podcast, do ya? You think you got a podcast, do ya? Who the hell are you? What the hell you do? I'll tell you. His name is Karl Hamburger, with a K like Karl Marx. And it's a hamburger, just like a sandwich you eat at a drive-thru. Karl Hamburger. Everybody thinks they're funny now. Everybody thinks they're funny now. You're a comic? No, you're not. You should listen to WAT podcast. You think you're funny, do ya? You think you're funny, do ya? Who the hell are you? What the hell you do?
Hello, Mr. Hamburger.
Could you just book the AI Carl next time? It would save you a lot of time. Jesus Christ. Anything on this show real?
No. That's the irony. We're all about educating people and bringing them the truth and talking about facts and logic and reason, but none of it's real.
Who told you should have a 9-minute intro? You're like, oh, there's only 11 people here, but maybe we'll get to 13 if we wait another 9 minutes.
I understand that it is not the most popular thing. Unfortunately, it saves me a lot given my work because literally, I'm not kidding, while that was going, I was handling something from the office.
Or you can just start the show a little bit later.
I can't. There's too much competition. I can't.
I see. Okay.
Yes, there's too much
No,
competition.
I was thinking about how CORNdiff show starts off, and there's just way too much bullshit that goes on. And then I saw JT in the chat say the same thing. Wow, I thought CORNdiff's intro was long.
Yeah,
You guys might have the record.
I literally got a call from work, and I'm telling you, I just give myself time because shit like that happens. And
Hey, Gummi, we're impressed how important he is, right?
I'm an
Whoa,
important
call
man.
from work.
I'm an
Oh, it must be
important
very
man.
important. Wow.
Ooh, somebody has a job.
I know.
Ooh.
But it was from Wendy's. Hey, thank you again for being here. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey, absolutely. This is a topic that I have thought about doing, talked about doing, never really understood the right way to do it. And then you and I had a very romantic dinner a couple of months ago.
We did.
And we brought it up, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe you're the right guest to have on to talk about Mr. Lazar.
Yeah, our date was lovely, by the way.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
glad.
you for taking me out.
You are very welcome, sir. Anytime. You know, I'm sorry I didn't call the next day.
I had a feeling we didn't hit it off. I had a feeling that was going to happen. No, it's fine.
It wasn't just sex for me.
No, I could tell you weren't that into me, but it's fine.
Real quick, let's see. Jack Sampson, the blue kitten is adorable. Oh, hi, Carl. Thank you so much for the
Jack.
$2. Thank you so much, Jack Sampson. Again, I'm so grateful for you being here. I think we have a really fun show ahead of us, but I also want it to be educational, informative. We're an educational show here.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just ask you before we get started, tell me what you know about Bob Lazar and your feelings on Bob Lazar. And there's no right or wrong answers, and I'm not going to shame you. Just tell me what you think and what you believe.
I saw Bob Lazar on Rogan. I watched the documentary that weirdo produced with Bob Lazar.
Be more specific.
I don't remember the guy's name, but he hangs out with, is it George Knapp is the journalist out of Vegas?
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the one.
George Knapp I like, but he does a podcast with that other guy who's the one who produced the Bob Lazar documentary. If I'm
Jeremy
not mistaken,
Corbell. Is that the guy you're thinking of?
That's the one.
Got it.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. That guy, he's not easy to get into, but I watched Bob Lazar. I saw him on Rogan. I watched the doc, and I believe that this technology does exist and there are people working on it in our government. And so I took everything with a grain of salt like I always do, but I thought this is very plausible until I looked more into Bob Lazar, and it seems like he's a compulsive liar who is full of shit.
Okay. So I'm very glad I asked, because I started this with the intention of me trying to be, me trying to convince you that he was a compulsive liar, and that maybe you were a believer. But no, that makes my job a lot easier. You're right. He is a compulsive liar with no credibility whatsoever. And I believe that the more you dig into his credibility, you realize that you can't rely on anything he says, even if it is 100% true.
And I don't want to get out in front of this. I'm sure you have a whole show planned, but my initial thought on it, and I believe this is the argument that was being used, was what's in it for him to make these stories up? It didn't seem like he was selling it or he had a product line or anything like that. And so that's why at first I wasn't all that skeptical, and I should be more skeptical. So at first I wasn't sure.
You and I have a mutual friend. His name is Casey Day.
Yes.
And Casey Day, when I discussed this with him, that was what he said. He said, nope, he's the only guy out there in a sea of charlatans and liars and frauds who isn't making a profit. And my answer to him was, oh, is that what you think? And we're going to talk about it. So Casey Day, I'm not going to say that he's a full-on believer, but he kind of just lends a little bit of credibility, I believe unwarranted credibility, to Bob Lazar.
If I'm naive as much as Casey Day, I'll actually take that as a compliment, because Casey Day is a brilliant person.
He is my friend. He is my mentor. I love Casey, but this is one issue that we have a friendly banter about. We don't get too serious about it. Okay. But Donna G, thank you so much for the 1999. Have a great show, boys. Thank you very much. We are going to have a great show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, man, you have got some fans in the chat. Do you know how loved you are, Karl?
I don't.
Let's see.
I was just doing This Little Piggy. It was on my channel today.
I was listening. Great show. Great episode.
Weekly show we do about Aaron Imhol, and I got to promote that I was on this show, so that might have helped.
It absolutely did. Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. And you know, it's funny because talking about credibility with Bob Lazar actually makes me think of one Mr. Aaron Imholt, in that I have made it really clear I'm new to the steel toe world because I avoided it for a long time. Wasn't into him. I'm obviously, you know, my fans know me as the guy who always made pictures of John. I hate John. Can't stand him.
I don't hate John. I love John.
I hate John.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I love John. He cracks me up.
But with Aaron, I couldn't get into him because there's this one thing that I can't get past, and I've gotten past it since then. I couldn't get past, which was that he seems so insincere with the most minute things, or just, you know, just benign things. Like literally, I think that if you were to ask him the time or the weather and he was giving you an honest answer, it still seems like he's lying and insincere. And I hated that about it. I was like, there's an uncanny valley with his tone and his sincerity.
Yeah, his broadcasting style is so fake. It's so over the top and weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help but see a lot of correlation with Bob Lazar. He is essentially what I think of also now as being an Aaron Imholt type, in that I don't care if this guy's telling me the weather. I don't believe him because there's just no sincerity to it. But we're going to get into that. And this is going to all be about his credibility. Of course, we can't prove what he saw. Of course, we can't prove that aliens exist or don't exist. We can't prove a negative, but we're going to talk about Bob's credibility. And if you find enough lies, why should you believe anything he says? That's how I think.
No, I agree with that. What's your take on space aliens in general?
Well, that's the thing. I'm a fence rider. I got to say, I totally ride the fence. I don't see any reason why aliens can't exist. Are they visiting?
Well, they have to.
They have to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Are they visiting our world and conspiring against humans? Nah, I don't buy that.
Whoa, why did you add conspiring against humans?
Well,
could have stopped it. Are they visiting our world?
Well, I guess they're hand in hand in my mind, because the conspiracy theorists, I guess I've heard I study this stuff, Karl, and I guess I lump it all together. But I've heard so many people say that you know, presidents meet with aliens and that aliens feed off of humans. I've heard so many different ones, and I guess I should be better about separating them.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
No,
It's not. Of course,
the
it's
lizard
not.
people.
Exactly. That's where I'm getting stuff muddled. We did an episode on lizard people recently.
You fucking know all about this shit.
But I'm not opposed to the idea of aliens. Whether or not they're visiting us, I'm not convinced on that either. But I've said it here on the show that I am convinced I did once see a UFO as a kid. And whether or not it was aliens, whether or not it was, whatever, future versions of ourselves, whatever, I have no idea. But I saw something in the sky once and it definitely got my attention.
I've seen 2 UFOs in my life, and I appreciate the way you say that, because I say it the same way. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're space aliens. I don't know if they're future versions of ourselves. That's very interesting. I don't know if it's just another dimension that's hopping over a portal somewhere. All of these things are a possibility, and the older I get, the more open-minded I am about all the different ways the paranormal is happening.
That's it. And I just keep an open mind, but at the same time, I also default to logic and reason and credibility.
No.
Really,
you should be taking psychedelics, man. Fuck logic and reason. That's ridiculous.
There's still time. There's still
boring.
The way I see it, just like mathematically, like there's just no way we're the only thing living on this rock. Like with the amount of planets, worlds, whatever the hell you want to call them, the universe, there's got to be something else out there. I don't know. I think it's just too much of a chance for it to just be us.
I agree. And I feel like mathematically that's almost a certainty, practically a certainty, even though we can't prove it.
But why would God just put life on just this one planet? Like, why even create all those other planets? Like, you made all that other shit out there. Yeah, that was just a project I had. I'm kind of done with it now.
And if Jesus died for our sins, did he only die for Earth's sins? If there are other planets out there who also need a Jesus?
Whoa. Now you're complicating things. I didn't bring up Jesus. No one's talking Jesus here.
Not of God. I have to go there. It all gets muddled. It all gets muddled. Rumble Trenchcoat, a Colombo podcast. Thank you so much for the 10 Luigi Greenberg memberships. Thank you. What did I call you last week? We did Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. I think I called you Brother Trenchcoat. Is what I was. We had a church service last episode. Another one of our mutual friends, Andy. Smoke another blunt, burnouts.
All right, Trucker Andy. Trucker Andy's gonna be on WATP tomorrow. You can call me out on the show.
Yeah,
I love Andy. Andy
speaking
is great.
Of Trucker Andy, Baby Bird is gonna fly. I'm doing my first solo guest spot on All Apologies podcast. We're gonna film on Sunday, and it comes out Monday Patreon, Wednesday YouTube.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Nice.
I got to pick the topic. We're talking about Boogie 2988.
Yeah,
Very
that's an
interesting
one.
video game streamer guy who went from like being like everyone's big brother to being a guy who does drugs, had a whole thing with prostitutes, and is like 500 pounds. And it's really fucking out there.
He also shot his gun at a guy who came to his house, and it was towards a school.
Yep.
So that's a pretty wild story, that Boogie.
Yeah. If I could just do like a quick thing that happened, it's like he was always with prostitutes, right? This one prostitute, she said, there's an interview for it where they interview her. She was so scarred trying to find his dick that she retired from prostitution because of it.
Listen, you never want to be a prostitute's last, John. That's kind of a bummer if they're just like, I gotta quit. This I've reached a new low.
That's the reputation you have to live with.
It's not great.
Yeah, I just thought that was an amazing story.
Wow. All right, folks. Well, let's get started here.
Before
save it for Sunday Gummi.
Yeah, I had to put that little tidbit. That was too delicious. Trust me, there's so much more. Before we go on the topic, Karl, I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
So it's because of you, but it's not your fault that Tom Myers doesn't like me.
Okay.
So I do a video game show on Doom's channel where I make all you guys as wrestlers.
Oh, dude, those are incredible.
Thank you.
I've watched a bunch of them, and of course the one during the intro with the isotopes.
Yes.
Everything. It's great.
Thank you so much. So we had like our big, like our version of like WrestleMania over the summer. and I had a tag team match where it was like you, Vinny, Chris, and Andy against Tom, Rob Saul, Stud Joe, and Frenchie. And the fact that I put him on their team and I had you pin him, he hates me.
He's mad about that?
Bro,
He
was
literally said
sucking me and Doom's dicks for like, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I love, like, because the first time I had him on, because I had it all planned, I actually had him wrestle you one-on-one, and I had him pin you.
I saw that. By the way, that would piss me off. I didn't get it one hit in on him.
No,
You
I
don't
know.
know wrestling matches go back and forth, back and forth. He just crushed me.
Because I did it as I literally had this shit planned out like a wrestling booker, because I was gonna do that because the ultimate plan was to put him in this team of losers and have you guys totally destroy.
I wasn't actually upset, by the way.
I know.
But Tom was. Tom started saying, "I'm not a fan of Gummy Chainsaw anymore."
But he was like doing it on like Chad's chat, like when Chad debuted like the intro I did for him, he's like, I'm not a fan of Gummy, sorry. And now he goes in all these chats like saying all this shit just because you like he got as mad as like NFL players get mad at their fucking Madden numbers when they see them. That's like totally how he wigged out about it.
Tom's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different than, you know, a police officer running to the scene of a crime or a firefighter running into a burning building. It's what I do.
One of our great stingers.
I love that. All right, folks, let's get to it. Go. Now, first, we're going to give a little bit of an overview of Bob's story, just so that the audience understands what's going on. But first, we're going to have a message from Karl's enemies.
Nice.
Hey, Luigi, it's me, your pal. Call me sometime. Anyway, let's stick it to that dork, Karl. Show him what an idiot he is. All right, here's what you want me to read. Robert Scott Lazar is an American conspiracy theorist. In 1989, Lazar claimed to have been part of a classified U.S. government project concerned with the reverse engineering of ET technology. He also purported to have read government briefings, documents, wait, what? That described alien involvement in human affairs over the past 10,000 years. He is a self-proclaimed psychic with no verifiable education to support the title of psychic. And he supposedly worked at the secret site near United States Air Force facility, popularly known as Area 51. I played there once, sold out. His story brought public attention to the facility and spawned conspiracy theories regarding government knowledge of it. ET life. Lazar's claims have been disproven by UFO skeptics and believers alike.
UFO.
Oh, wait, UFO. Cut that part out. Don't be a loser. He was found to have fabricated not only his employment with the U.S. government, but indeed his entire background. What a loser. Almost nothing of what was said was true. Still, Lazar's lies propelled Area 51 into the public's consciousness. This guy should be called Loser instead of Laser. Am I right? Now that proves Karl's a dork. Anyway, I'll be at the Funny Bone tonight or tomorrow or probably yesterday. So whatever. Call me.
Thank you to Cardiff Electric.
Oh, that was Cardiff?
I'm sorry, Cardiff Zumach.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I thought that was Chad. I was going to ask you how it was working with them. All right.
All right, so here is just a brief overview of Mr. Lazar.
Heard your story decades ago. I've followed the story incredibly closely. But for people who don't know the story, let's give them the bullet points. You used to work at Area 51. And Area 51, God, you went like, huh?
Well, you know, we want to be accurate.
Okay.
Area S4.
S4. Okay.
It's about 15 miles south of Area 51.
Well,
Now, everyone, I don't want to say everyone, this was a very popular interview he did on the Joe Rogan show. And we are going to just skip to all the major points and what he says. But what is interesting and is going to come up a little bit later is that once he started getting pressed a little bit on the facts of this, Bob suddenly had a migraine and couldn't answer and asked to step away from the microphone to come up with a better answer. You know, just odd. whatever.
I know zero about this guy, so this is like my 101. Like, I'm totally like stoked for this.
This is going to be interesting.
What would you? How would you describe it?
I guess within the Area 51 compound, you can call that a subset of Area 51.
And you got that job. Before that, you were working.
Before that, I had worked at Los Alamos
Right.
National Labs in New Mexico.
Scott Lazar is a cult.
So that is ultimately his claim to fame. And again, this is all just giving an interview. We're going to do more discussion, but this is for the audience. This guy claims that he worked at a government facility called Los Alamos National Labs and S4, which was a specific area basically in the same vicinity, where he reverse engineered alien technology from a spaceship that was recovered from a crash. There's been some variations on the story, but where he came to fame was in 1989. And this is what this is talking about here.
Figure in UFOlogy. The popular Bob was once the most mystical figure in America in the eyes of many followers of the UFO phenomenon, military analysts, and research newspapers. When he appeared in an interview with the Las Vegas TV station KLAS in May 1989, under the pseudonym of Dennis, no one could have predicted that his testimony about the hitherto unknown phenomenon of the Area 51 at Groom Lake would become a viral phenomenon.
There's really no way I could prove it without revealing my identity and getting myself into more trouble than I have.
This is how he made his introduction to the world. How he connected with this TV station is a matter of debate. Nobody really knows, but he wanted to give this anonymous interview where he talked about what was going on in Los Alamos.
Already.
Exactly what's going on up there?
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers, flying discs that are out there of extraterrestrial origin.
The interview had been set up at the last minute. Dennis, whose real name is Bob Lazar, met our news unit in front of the home of John Lear, put on a microphone, then sent shockwaves through UFO circles. Lazar recalls what...
Now, one of the first things that is odd about this whole thing is, why was there this backup footage showing his face?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just seems odd.
He looks like made for TV Bill Gates.
He is a weird looking guy. He's looked sick for apparently like 60 years.
What was going through his mind at the time?
It was a very frightening moment. It was certainly not a comfortable thing to do.
Within days, the story of the Dennis interview had traveled around the world. Busloads of the saucer curious descended on the outskirts of Area 51. The little town of Rachel became a hub of ET enthusiasm, and the search was on for the true identity of the man in the shadow.
Clearly an innovative mind, Lazar claimed to have worked as a physicist at Los Alamos National Laboratory in his 20s, where he helped to work on a particle accelerator. From there, he was supposedly recruited.
Now, let's make that clear. He claims that he was a physicist. Now, here's going to be the first piece of evidence he shows the world to prove his claims of being a physicist.
Can we also talk about how saucer curious sounds like this alien version of a furry?
It sounds a little weird.
Yeah,
that was a little odd. But here is a W-2.
We'd all put our dick in a flying saucer if we could, right?
Yeah.
The curiosity would probably be overwhelming.
Yeah.
This is a W-2 that he shows the TV station to quote unquote prove his work at Los Alamos. But let's take a little look at it. And again, his first piece of evidence in 1989.
Government base known as S4 near Area 51 via a third-party company. This is where the controversy begins.
There's something wrong already. Can you tell what is wrong with this W-2? There is no such thing as the U.S. Department of Naval Intelligence. There is only the Office of Naval Intelligence, which is a part of the U.S. Department of the Navy. This is a forgery.
All right, but says who? Because I don't know if you guys remember this. It wasn't that long ago that we thought that there was just like a CIA and an FBI and, military intelligence. And then we find out that there's like 17 intelligence agencies and they're all hidden and we didn't know about all that. So who's saying that doesn't exist? Who knows what the fuck exists in the U.S. government?
I was about to say,
Well-
I would not have noticed that. I believe it if it's there.
It's possible. I don't know who's
I
going
could
to say
name
that
some-
doesn't exist.
I could name some people, but there are some people who have specifically given their opinion about this and said there's actually a few books written about it who have said that this is a branch of the military that does not exist. But also,
I'm being a skeptical robot, and I'm saying that who fucking knows? It's very possible.
And who's to say
I know.
they're not in the branch that's supposed to be cover-ups? Like they're not in the cover-up bureau.
Here's another piece of interesting tidbit of knowledge on that is that the social security number listed on that W-2 was not Bob's. It was actually the social security number of his first wife who committed suicide under suspicious circumstances after they divorced. Her name was Carol Strong. That was Carol's social security number on that.
That's what you should have led with, then. Who gives a shit about that?
No, I'm going to go with the bigger one that he named some sort of fictional department that he didn't even do his research on. Hamhead, thank you so much for the $10. Guess what? I'm working on my truck again and missing my favorite show. Hammy is fucking irate. Aw, man, come on. You'll catch up. Hamhead is very loyal. Karl Hamhead was my first subscriber. He is awesome and is very generous on this show.
It's also odd that he's in the chat explaining that he's not watching the show.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I'm very I came in here being skeptical tonight.
And that's perfect.
Good.
Perfect. Let's learn a little bit more about. So now that's the overview that we have.
Okay.
Of Bob. So now we can dive just a little bit deeper into his story, his claims, and we can try to find what objective evidence we can against some of those claims. So is Bob lying? What do we actually know? But first, here's a message from Karl's enemies.
Perfect.
Hey, Karl, the only person that's a bigger loser than you is
This is Rob Saul Apologies.
Bob Lazar. I've seen a lot of losers in my day, but you two are the biggest losers. There's so many insults that I could come up with to describe you two, but the best one to describe you two is losers. In the May 1989 interview, Lazar said that his job was to help reverse engineer one of 9 flying saucers, which he alleged were extraterrestrial in origin.
Hey, dog fucker, I need 2 margaritas.
He claims that one of the flying saucers, the one he coined Sport Model, was manufactured out of a metallic substance similar in appearance and touch to liquid titanium. Speaking of that, I'm as hard as titanium. Here, doggy. Here, boy.
Jesus
In a
Christ.
subsequent interview that November, Lazar appeared
Andy went all out.
unmasked and under his own name, where he claimed that his job interview for work at the facility was with contractor EG&G, and that his employer was the United States Navy. EG&G was asked to confirm Lazar's employment, but instead stated that it had no records on him. If you don't believe me, you can ask Adam Bush. Hey, Karl, I believe him. What about you, Shuli? Yeah, I believe him too. Well, what about you, Adam? Lazar's supposed employment at a Nellis Air Force Base subsidiary has also been discredited by skeptics, as well as by the United States Air Force. Does that get your mom wife wetter than my aunt wife? Lazar has claimed that the studied vehicle was fueled by the chemical element with atomic number 115, which had not yet been artificially created. Element 115 was first synthesized in 2003 and later named Moscovium. Lazar said that the propulsion system relied on a stable isotope of element 115. Ooh, the isotope's my favorite band. No stable isotopes of Moscovium have yet been synthesized. All have proven extremely radioactive, decaying in a few hundred milliseconds, and of course, having no impact whatsoever on propulsion or gravity. I hope that clears things up for you, you fucking losers. Here, doggy. Here.
All right. I'm using these as a way, just kind of giving a little bit of a prelude of some of the topics we're going to discuss. And I hope that it's helpful.
Wouldn't it be great if Andy was that funny on my show sometimes? Well done. Well done.
Rob Saul Apologies could be easily a recurring character.
Yeah.
That's a good bet.
Rob Saul, K9
I am
Curious.
calling them out. Outrageous because there's no physical evidence to back anything up. Get this. He was raided by the feds twice, but the court couldn't do a background check on him because information about him had mysteriously disappeared.
So here we go. We're going to start talking about some of the very direct things that can be proven or disproven of what Bob says. Now, did you know that he claims that he was raided by the feds? For what reason, I don't know. I didn't know that. That was actually new to me.
Just like that. Into thin air.
He was actually having freak-offs.
That's what it was.
A lot of people don't know that about Bob Lazar. Pretty kinky guy.
People don't know that he was actually P. Diddy's hype man.
Yeah.
in the early 2000s.
When he's out reverse engineering alien technologies, pissing in hookers' mouths.
And dominating young up-and-coming rappers.
However, there was no evidence that the FBI actually raided.
But turns out these were just false claims, and there's no record of him ever being raided by the FBI until
his documentary on Netflix was released. I don't know about you, but that sounds very suspicious to me. Maybe the government or some powerful private firm just wants to silence him and make him disappear. Yikes.
Now, that's what he claims. Now, the interesting thing is, like you said earlier about government agencies, it's easy to say that if something's a secret, well, then we can rely on that secret as our defense. You know, the way that Frank Dukes was claimed to be a CIA agent, and when he was confronted, they said, well, the CIA has no record of you. And his answer is, well, of course they're going to say that. It's a secret. Bob does a lot of that. But at the same time, puts his foot in his mouth a lot of the time where he claims something that can easily be disproven.
But he is still alive, though. If someone powerful wanted him dead, he wouldn't be talking about top secret information. When Bob talked about the biometric reader, which could measure bones in the fingers, people said he'd gone crazy.
So this is one thing that our friend KC actually relies on when he says, well, Bob knows about this technology, about the hand readers. Turns out this was not actually uncommon. This was actually a very standard thing that was used at a lot of government facilities and was not on the cutting edge of technology at the time, despite Bob saying that it was. So this is something that he's saying that is true, but it's not as outstanding of a claim as he made it out to be.
We're getting nitpicky here. All right. All right.
But I just want to say that I'm not going to discredit everything he says.
Then it turned out to be true. Non-believers and other scientists claim that such a prediction and others he's made, including the element 115, are merely advancements of already existing facts. Believers are convinced that Bob can only be speaking from the point of personal experience, and he actually witnessed strange things working in S4. Apparently, Bob Lazar did electronic technology in Caltech and his master's at MIT, which is another claim which can't be verified. While working, he came across secret reports documenting gray aliens which were involved with humankind over 10,000 years ago. Oh, he also claimed that the aliens were from Zeta Reticuli. When he was hired to work as a scientist in Area S4, he browsed inside UFOs powered by element 115 parked in a hangar, tried to sit in the seats but found them too small. The only proof to his claims is that he said them. Wow. Okay.
Did you know that part of his story, that he claimed that he sat in a UFO?
No, because I remember him talking about how everything's compartmentalized. So you only work on that little thing that you work on. So you don't really actually get to see how the entire thing works.
Except Bob. JT. I'm kidding. JT, thank you for the $5. Luigi, after weeks of harassing you, you already changed my mind on Bob. As a government contractor, your W-2 wouldn't say U.S. Department of Navy. I hate you. I can't tell if JT's ever being serious. Yeah. He threatened to come and kill me if I discredited Bob at one point. I never really know with JT, but I really do hope I am going to convince you. But there's a lot more.
Not for nothing, JT. Like my brain read this in his voice, like Luigi. After weeks of harassing you, you already changed my mind on Bob. Like,
hey, he may have made these things up, but how does he get to a point where he lies about attending certain schools? Lazar claimed that he was erased from the records to discredit him. The transcript and files may have been deleted, but at least one of his classmates should remember him.
So that is one of my absolute favorite of his claims, is that he claims he attended MIT, got a master's degree, and also claimed that he attended California Institute of Technology. But there are people who have gone and tried to back up his claims, and none of them can be substantiated. He claims that the government went behind him and erased all of his records with these schools. What
you know
he
who
doesn't-
else? You know
Go
who
ahead.
else is pretty prominent, and you can't find a single person who went to college with him and remembers him? Barack Obama.
Really?
I thought you were for Sucho. That's
No,
what I
no,
thought
no,
you were
no, no,
going.
no. Sucho at least knew what's his name who he took over interning for. But no, Barack Obama is another guy who's just like, wait, you went where? You don't. There's not a single classmate who remembers you from that. All right, sure.
That's funny. I've not heard that. He could be the subject of our next episode.
I'm in. Let's go.
But yeah, what's interesting is that his claim, though, of having a master's degree does not take into a lot of moving parts, such as when you, he doesn't really even understand how getting a master's degree works. When you get a master's degree, you have to write a thesis. You have to have a thesis advisor. You have to get published. So if the government just went by and erased his academic record, they would also have to erase all of the journals in which
hold on, that's
thesis-
a master's degree, not a PhD?
For science, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for science.
Because I have friends who have their master's degree, and I know none of them have written a thesis, but yeah, it's probably not science.
Yeah. And there are certain organizations you have to be a part of. There's a lot of things, and none of it can be substantiated. And it's hard to believe that the government can go in and erase sections of what are essentially magazines and say, nope, Bob Lazar is being erased. They're going to break into people's homes, erase them from their magazines at homes.
I'm sorry. Have you seen E.T.?
You know,
The
I guess I
government will
didn't
go
take that
pretty
into account.
far to cover shit up. All right, come on.
They will. I should have had ET in mind this whole time. But it's just crazy that his claims are just not well thought out.
I was gonna say, like if let's just say that's all true, right? Can't he just produce like bank documents and cancel checks and shit showing that he made payments to the college?
That is a great question.
He could, but then this asshole would be like, that's not a social security number. That's not his bank account number. It's his ex-wife.
That's a great one. And
Yes, FDIC got rid of all his bank records too while we were at it.
somebody who does have a master's of science degree asked the exact same question.
Oh, word.
And he produced nothing. And we're gonna learn about that guy.
Anyone out there studied with Lazar? This might be an excellent time to speak out. It's impossible to imagine that hundreds of people who've gone through MIT and Caltech all have no recollection of him. Insane. The big question is, why would he lie about something so massive? On one hand, he could probably be telling the truth, and on the other hand, he could be making it all up for attention and to make a couple of bucks in the process. There's no denying that the world has had its fair share of delusional people. First of all, there's a documentary on Netflix which was licensed for an undisclosed amount of money.
Luigi, I'm sorry, hang on a second. You
Go
know
ahead.
what I just thought about?
What's
We
that?
got people coming out of the woodwork saying they went to school with fucking Aaron Imholt to clown him. You gonna tell me no one's gonna come out and say they went to school with Bob Lazar? And be like, yo, this fucking psycho. I sat next to him in fucking, English
Good point.
101.
It's a good point. Paul Shea came to Vegas.
Yes.
Exactly. So you
What
gonna tell me
a
no one's gonna go after this
fantastic point. And our world is not, our little Dabbleverse world is nowhere near how big this UFO world
guy? Exactly.
is.
Sorry to interrupt. but that popped in my
Nope,
head.
but that is a fantastic point. But now we're going to learn a little bit more about, what was in it for Bob? The belief was that he wasn't profiting, but I'll let this.
2015, the IUFOC heavily paid him, and for every tester's plastic model sold to the Lazar tape excerpts of the government Bible, he got a percentage. So whether the claims are valid or not, he's made quite some money over the years.
So let's dig a little bit deeper on the motivation. Has Bob profited from his story?
Hi, I'm Bob Lazar. If you're curious to know what it was like for me working at Area S4, follow Project Gravatar.
That is a promo that Bob released, and the music is eerily similar to the Back to the Future theme, if you hear it, in which he partnered with, I I think I honestly can't tell who his partners were, but I believe it was a movie production company in which he started helping out a website that was going to produce a movie, but also produce products that were inspired and designed by Bob Lazar. And this
can I just correct you on something?
Yes, please.
Websites cannot produce movies.
I'm sorry. It was a company that started the website. It was a movie production company. You are correct, sir. But this was where things really start to unravel about how he was profiting. Despite the fact that there are people in this world that believe he wasn't profiting off of his stories, we're going to see what he was doing and how he was making money.
The video and music production looks like the videos you watch in the queue when like you're in a ride for like a roller coaster at Disney World. You know when they have like those shitty videos, like where they have like, you know, Claire Huxtable telling you how you're gonna go like visit dinosaurs and shit.
Yes, exactly. It's terrible. But let's get a little bit of a list of how Bob was making money and how someone who is a charlatan telling lies could potentially use their stories to make money. So in the 90s, did you know Bob had a radio show?
I did not know that.
That discussed UFOs. That's one way he was making money. Bob also sold a video that was in magazine, that was marketed in magazines and newspapers, where he simply discusses the alleged documents that he viewed while he was employed by the U.S. government.
Luigi, why do I feel like this would be in the back of Black Belt magazine too?
Totally, 100% looks like it, doesn't it? Yes,
Yeah.
or a comic book or something. It's just him. I've seen parts of it. We're not going to play it here, but it's literally just him just talking about stuff he saw, and he sold it. Ugh, disgusting. But then also he sold scale model kits of UFOs.
Well, that's cool.
I would have bought one.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Of supposedly the spaceship that he allegedly saw while working at S4.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm just proving that he was in it for the money from the beginning.
Okay.
It's so stupid. And also in 2009, Bob sold the rights to his story for a movie. Bob also wrote an autobiography. So this is what we're talking about with the Project Gravatar website. He currently sells a variety of alien conspiracy-themed merchandise. Get a load of this bullshit. He sells posters, clothing. He designs UFO-themed clothing.
I only buy #Ruizing shirts.
UFO-themed bags. Magnets, folks. Bob Lazar sells magnets, and one of the magnets is of his badge, alleged badge, that he wore at S4 and Los Alamos with his picture on it. Who wouldn't want that on your fridge? But here's the worst one right here. Hold on. Coffee mugs. Bob Lazar sells coffee mugs.
You know why I know how the badge thing, I know that's a thing, and I'm sure he sold a lot of them because, you know, I work around the country on the Comic-Con scene and shit. And there's always a vendor who sells like fucking IDs of like, you know, Mulder and Scully and shit with like their picture. And like people,
No one
and they
told
sell
me
out
there
of
was
it.
going to be boasting.
Exactly.
Great drop.
But they yes. But like, yeah, they have like, there's always some vendor that just sells like all those like IDs of characters from movies and shit. And they're always selling. So,
and I feel like that's what he's going for, is he wants to be associated with Mulder and Scully. You know, like there's like this mystery around him. Yeah. But here is one of the most fascinating parts of Bob Lazar is that when all else fails, Bob just steals money.
Smart. That's a good idea.
This is an article from 2006 written by a gentleman out of Japan named Norio Hayakawa. I hope I'm pronouncing that accurately.
You're not.
That I'm probably not. that is detailing in 1990, right as Bob Lazar's star started to take off after he did that interview in Las Vegas, he began booking appearances throughout the world where people wanted to interview him. And his quote unquote scheme was to take a half upfront payment and not show up. And he did this to a couple of people, and one one TV show that he was supposed to show up at in Japan totally calls him out on it. And on the episode where he was supposed to be there, they actually tell the whole story. I couldn't find the video of it, but it exists out there somewhere where they say, we gave Bob Lazar money and he didn't show up.
Did Bob Lazar also build Anthony Cumia's roof?
Yes, he
if
did.
You know, you know.
I do know that one. He did. He absolutely did. I'm pretty sure. Why not? Throw him on the pile there. But yes, it was supposed to be a 2-hour primetime TV special on Area 51 that aired in Japan. And they gave him money and he never even jumped on his flight to Japan. And never gave a very good explanation for it either. But this just seems to be Bob's MO.
Can I can we pause things for a second?
Yeah.
Kind of recenter ourselves. So what we're seeing here is nonstop evidence of this guy being a complete grifter.
Complete piece of shit.
Total liar.
Total liar.
And yet, somehow, he's not vetted, and Netflix is showing his documentary, and Joe Rogan's having him on as a guest. Like, how does all of this happen if this guy is obviously such a shyster?
That honestly is a recurring theme on our show, that we do not understand how people can continue to evolve in their grifts. The whole point of the show is to point out the grifter, and it never fails that there's evidence of grifts that is years and maybe sometimes even decades old that people just want to overlook because for the most part, our conclusion has been when there's a story out there that seems unbelievable or extraordinary, there's an audience for it that will believe it regardless of the facts, regardless of logic.
I know that. I totally understand that. I've been in the UFO world from time to time in my life, but it's surprising to me that you'd have mainstream outlets like Joe Rogan and like Netflix that would, do they know that it's bullshit? And they're just like, whatever, we're going to get eyeballs, so it doesn't matter? Or
that's
they
a
also,
great question.
Yeah, do they also have the wool pulled over their eyes?
Yeah, we'll never know, but Joe Rogan totally gives off the impression that he buys all of this Bob Lazar stuff.
I bought it because he bought it at the time. I was like, this sounds like right.
I don't get it. I'm not a big fan of Joe Rogan, not really a fan of what he does, but if he really, and I remember doing research for this episode and learning about Bob Lazar, what's interesting is that there were other people who asked Joe Rogan about Bob Lazar, like other guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching at some point, I wish I could remember who it was, but someone says, hey, you had Bob Lazar on your show. What was his answer for not being able to provide any evidence of his education? And Joe Rogan, with absolute seriousness in his face, says, he told me off the air. And I don't think he wants me to say it on the air, but I'll tell you off the air, but there's a reason. And I was like, hold on. Like, that just sounds like such bullshit. And that literally you gave this con man an opportunity to con you face to face with some story that he probably had to think up on his way to having that conversation. But I literally just started laughing. I was like, how can this guy who bought into this nonsense ever be believed again? But he is. And I don't understand. But that's the question we always ask, is that people just don't ever want to be proven wrong. That's really a large part of why people give money to televangelists. This is no different. People are absolutely fearful of what the truth might be if they're wrong. You know, if I'm not giving my money to this televangelist like God says I'm supposed to, what does that mean for reality? What does that mean for, my place? Does that mean I've been a fool for believing this the whole time? No, I refuse to believe that I would have been a fool.
Right.
And
It's in poker. It's called pot committed.
pot committed is a great.
You're not going to win the hand, but you can't get out of it.
That's man, God, that really sums it up really well. You know, Karl, I really thought this whole time that I was going to have to like convince you of this. You came in with the right attitude. I love it.
Well, yeah. Honestly, you're showing too much evidence. I almost feel like we should move on. But do you have more to explain that this guy's full of shit? All right,
plenty more. We're gonna have some fun though.
What you're doing right now is I can't remember the phrase, but you're selling past the close. It's like a salesperson comes in, they're like, "Hey, you really should buy this car." They're like, "Yeah, let's do it." It's like, "Did I mention we have a warranty and you get 0% financing?" It's like, "Yeah, dude, I said yes. I'm buying the car. Why are you still trying to sell me on this?"
I bet there's still believers in the audience.
I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any, but go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right. You know, it's funny. One time I had a guest on who literally was arguing with me all the way up until the episode started. And I had like an hour's worth of content to go through. We made it 12 minutes in, and he goes, "I really didn't expect it, but you've already swayed me." And I was like, "Nope, we're going through the whole hour."
Jesus Christ. This guy doesn't know how to pivot.
Yeah.
Tell me this guy does not know how to pivot. I don't know if you guys have meetings in between shows, but maybe that's something we should bring up.
This is smart guy. This is what they taught us in law school, is that if you got evidence, you got to show it. You got one shot at the apple. Just keep going.
Yeah, we're not in court, but go ahead.
Let's see, where are we here?
In an interview with Joe Rogan, Bob explains a reactor which creates gravity. Theoretically, it's not possible to make gravity on Earth, and a machine which makes gravity, as Bob claims, can bring every science fiction into reality. When he first started working, his partner Barry was day. He decided to film the test with his friend Guy.
Tell you what,
It looked
I am
like a
going to
bright
skip
bit.
this
They
because this
found
one's
out that he
weird.
shared really?
We'll
One of the
move on.
theories always suspected
some
that
more-
there are extraterrestrial
some
things
more
and intelligence
fun
beyond
topics
us,
here.
and he sparked that conversation.
Let's move on to some of the actual literal objective proof that we have found that disproves Bob Lazar's claims. Can any of Bob's lies be disproven objectively? But first,
oh boy.
Hi, Karl. It's Kayleetron. What? Bob Lazar? Laser? I think it's Laser. Is it? He has provided no evidence whatsoever of alien life or technology. Like, none. And his claims about his like education and like employment history are full of verified like fabrications. Did you know that Laser also has criminal convictions? Can you believe it? A Laser has criminal convictions. What? What? Like, I don't even... One conviction was in 1990 for his involvement in a prostitution ring. Prostitution ring? While he was supposedly like working at Los Alamos reverse engineering spaceships? What? How do you even reverse engineer a spaceship? Do you like make it backwards? What? He was convicted again in 2006 for selling like illegal chemicals. Like illegal chemicals. In addition to being like dismissed by skeptics, Laser, can you believe it? Also, Laser, a guy who is working on spaceships and his name is Laser. He has also been renounced by several theorists who promote alien conspiracies. I totally believe in aliens. What? What is up with this guy, Laser? What? Karl, how can you even like this guy, Laser? He's like, what? If we can shoot off 5 lasers, we're going to try the new Taco Bell crispy chicken tacos. What?
Thank you very much to Kaylee.
So if anyone doesn't know, because that's a little bit of a deep pull, that was Casey Tron, the impression she was doing. And Casey Tron's a Twitch streamer that just does have fart sound effects going throughout the show. And the reason why we talk about Casey Tron is because she is part of the lawsuit with Ethan Klein. So Ethan Klein's suing 3 or 4 Twitch streamers for stealing
I knew you'd
his
get it.
content. I'm explaining it to the people out there just like, what just happened? But anyway, Lucy did a fantastic job just now.
She did a great job.
Yes.
But let's just talk about real quick some of the things that people don't really talk about, at least I don't hear him talk about, when it comes to Bob, is that when he got married, he didn't list his occupation as a physicist, despite saying he was. He lists his occupation as an electronics engineer, which is verifiable. So here's the thing, is that he actually was an electronics engineer at Los Alamos, but he worked for a headhunter contractor. He was not a physicist.
Hold on. Can we pivot and just talk about Bill Nye, the science guy, who's also not a scientist? Can we get into that now? I'm kidding.
You know, it's funny. I've heard that, but I need to look into it.
He's an engineer. He's an engineer.
Is that true? Really?
Yeah, he's not a scientist. Yeah.
I always feel the same way.
He's also a propagandist, which is fun.
Yeah, I do know that. But I also feel the same way about Dr. Phil. Like, I think he has a degree in sports medicine or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, that's what it is. Something like that. And he's giving psychological advice. But skipping ahead right here real quick, I feel like this is important
some more records
when
of
talking
his
about his education, because there are some very specific things that have been found out about his claims. Of course, we can't prove a negative, but what's interesting is Bob actually laid out some cookie crumbles for us to pick up on and find a little bit of a trail to his lies.
Educational background, which he claims to have these degrees, advanced degrees, and have gone to these schools.
Which there is evidence, right?
So the evidence came out, right? It's interesting because he had a court case in 1991, and on his court documents, he stated that.
Did you know about his court case in which he was prosecuted for running a brothel in Las Vegas illegally?
I'm familiar.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
His bachelor's degree was from Pacifica University, which is a correspondence university.
And what year?
So in this court documents, he is asked his education, and he lists Pacifica University, not MIT, not California Institute of Technology, or Pierce Community College, which is actually a verified school he went to. Pacifica University.
It was shut down in the early 90s as being a degree mill. So this was like 91, I think, was the conviction. So it was like two years after he came out with the story.
So this place called Pacifica was selling degrees. Selling. Okay.
That's where he put. So the court case is interesting too, because apparently, he had, become this whistleblower about this big top secret program that he was hired to be this senior staff physicist on. And that, afterwards he was, 2 years later, he's running a brothel. There's a video of it online, and there's even videos of George Knapp talking about the incident, how he's like, he just, brought this big scientist whistleblower out, and here goes the whole story because, right. And apparently it wasn't enough to make it go away. And a lot of people still don't know about that and that it happened. But the court documents from that case, he lists his degree his bachelor's degree was from Pacifica University, not MIT or Caltech. He doesn't say that.
Yeah, but are you going to show some of the horrors that worked at this brothel?
They were briefly in there.
Okay, yeah.
They were briefly in there. But this was actually a quote from the court in those documents.
This is from his court hearing. I'm not going to get into the pandering thing other than acknowledging that it did exist, which would make him ineligible for a top secret clearance. But when they researched him, they came to the conclusion that it is the contention of this department that the defendant is no more than an intelligent con man who has totally fictionalized his prior academic and employment history to further his own interests.
Let's bring up Bernard Haish again, because I wanted to get into that.
So that right there, doesn't that make him more interesting? The fact that he's not even a physicist, and he's made up this whole world and life that he's had that is ridiculous, but he's convinced enough people that it's true. Like that right there, I'm giving him credit for. That's even cooler than working at Area 51, in my opinion.
Well, there are some con men that I do admire because of their balls.
Yeah, right.
And so as long as we're being, specific to say that that's why we're admiring him is because he's excellent at being a con man, sure.
Yeah, it's like Chad Zumach is a failed Bob Lazar.
Yes.
Like he wants us to believe all this crazy shit about him, and we're just like, nope, that's not true. And it just didn't catch on.
That should be a show, is comparing the fraudulent successes of one con man versus the fraudulent failures of another.
At a certain point, you just got to hand it to him and be like, Bob Lazar is pretty fucking great at what he does.
I respect the hustle. I mean, the fact he can get all these people to believe that. And also about the brothel, I definitely know he doesn't have like USDA choice prostitutes. You can just tell.
No. Yeah, he doesn't look like a pimp, does he? He doesn't put on pimp fires.
Not at all.
It was done out of an apartment, in an apartment in a residential apartment complex. And even though his
Stoney's is in a house.
Yeah. Even though his argument was that he wasn't part of the day-to-day operations, there were some of the whores that actually testified, no, he interviewed us. He conducted the job interviews.
Also, I'm willing to bet he got high on his own supply. Like he was fucking
probably
those
safe. That's probably safe to say.
I'm hung up on job interviews for prostitutes. You don't just look at them and just be like, "Hey, man, let me see your STD test. Good, you're hired."
I would love to know what questions are asked in a prostitute's job interview. Yeah, here are my references.
Well, I've watched a lot of casting couch videos, so I think I can speak to this. I think I know what goes on. You want to make sure she doesn't use her teeth and she's not afraid of. Anyway, moving on.
Now let's talk more about this.
All right. So triple input's an important part of this interviewing process. Yes. Sir Franklin says.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. So this guy is actually a physicist named Jeremy Reese, and he points out one particular interview that Bob Lazar did that is pretty
Bernard Haish has what's called a CV, or curriculum vitae, and that's what any published scientist is going to have, a bunch of work that they've worked on. Now
so as a scientist, there are certain credentials that are apparently default standard, and Bob Lazar doesn't have.
This guy was a senior staff physicist. He worked at Lockheed Martin Advanced Aerospace Concepts Department from 1970. Yeah, so 1999. And he worked on a bunch of classified physics programs as a senior staff physicist. And this is what, a real resume would look like for someone who they'd recruit and hire to these types of programs.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Lazar does not have a CV. He claims to have a master's degree from MIT, and he claims that his thesis was in MHD, or magnetohydrodynamics, which is a form of propulsion where it's like when you ionize air and make it plasma, and then use magnets to move that plasma. That's magnetohydrodynamics.
Who doesn't know that?
We
So
get it, yeah.
That's what he claims his degree is in,
and which is why he claimed that's what his degree was in. That would give him credibility to have, actually done the thing that he did, or get the position out there, even though element 115 and the high end, nuclear physics is really a separate issue from magnetohydrodynamics.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different field.
Obviously.
But I don't know. You look at guys like this and you compare him to Bob Lazar, and I'm like, well, why would they hire Bob Lazar? And why would they need Bob Lazar when they have dudes like this?
That is actually a question that I got lost in. That was a total forest for the trees question, where I was doing all this research into trying to disprove Bob Lazar, and it's such a simple question that really kind of just explains all of the fraud, which is, why would the government rely on an uneducated person when there are so many qualified physicists? And that, in my opinion, really is the foundational basis of why it's all a lie, because that's easily explainable, or at least easily a logical conclusion to draw, which is, why would the government seek out someone who doesn't have an education in this specific thing that they're searching for when there are qualified individuals. And I feel like that really explains everything. It's just me, though.
Yes, the government erased all his education. That's what you're saying, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying that there are physicists. So they just found a guy and they said, why don't you try to be a physicist when there are actually qualified, experienced physicists? That's a question that just can't get answered.
Working on this.
You see the current president of the United States?
What's that?
The current president of the United States, was the highest position in all of government, is a real estate guy who was a celebrity on a reality show.
That is another unexplainable phenomenon
So,
I don't get at all.
Whatever you want to say about who ends up in the federal government, I just threw a monkey wrench into that whole argument.
I was about to say, you go and hire the Mexicans in freaking parking lots of Home Depot. You don't go out for contractors who have their degrees and shit.
That's right. I mean, it's so weird. And I felt like that guy really just summed it up properly. It's like, okay, so there's a guy who's lying. He doesn't qualify for any sort of government clearance because of, felony convictions, but the government's going to seek him out. And here I am wasting all this time trying to prove line for line for line of why he was, less credible than anyone else, when it all boils down to that question right there. Wait a minute. No, this doesn't make any sense, because there were physicists who could have served that role and had top secret clearance, but they gave it to someone who didn't have any of the qualifications. It made no sense.
Or say specifically about MIT. What did he say his level of education was at MIT?
A master's degree.
He said he had a master's degree.
He said he graduated in 1982.
We've already been through all of this, man. I don't understand why we're still.
Monitor article, he moved to Los
As an
Alamos from
attorney,
California.
you should know that
So
we've
if he
already
was in
argued this
Los
point.
Did he move to Los Alamos and then Los Alamos sent him to MIT?
I'll skip it if you don't want to go through
He
it.
changed the story.
But
no, I mean, we literally have already talked about this.
timeline.
I know.
Saying
We
that's his
have.
paper.
That's what he says.
There was a specific line in which he got interviewed and was asked for names. He was asked for names specifically of teachers who were at MIT, and the people he named were his high school teacher, but he tried to pass it off as an MIT professor, and then a junior college professor that he tried to pass off as a California Institute of Technology professor. So caught in two very awful lies.
When he was arrested for running the brothel, and in the court documents it showed he didn't go to these colleges, are we good now or no? We're still litigating this?
I feel like I like to hammer the point home to make sure there's no room for doubt. But I don't mind skipping over it if you're not into it.
He didn't go to MIT. He doesn't have his master's degree from MIT. I don't.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it 20 more ways. What do you mean?
No, we don't have to. It's fine.
I know you prepared a whole thing. I'm just telling you. Like, we kind of moved past it, I thought.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. We will. But this guy, Stan Friedman, is in fact a physicist who did do all of this investigating into Bob Lazar. And I thought he summed it up pretty well here.
Else, not for me.
He looks like Meng the Merciless, Flash Gordon.
I did a lot of checking on Bob. I tried to meet with him twice. I was supposed to on one occasion, and he didn't go along. I checked at MIT. I checked at Caltech. Neither one ever heard of them. Well, but the government wiped his records clean as the response. I talked to the legal counsel at MIT. No way to do that. I talked with the guy who has the degrees, the commencement lists and all that sort of thing. No mention of Lazar. None of the yearbooks show Lazar. You need it for a master's thesis. For a master's degree, you need a thesis. I talked to the guy who holds those. No Lazar item there. He was asked publicly, when did you get your master's from MIT? Well, let me see now. I think it was, probably 1982. Nobody who gets a master's degree in physics from MIT doesn't know what year he got it in. He was asked to name some of his professors. Well, let's see now. He named somebody, somebody, I won't use his name on the air. I checked on him. It was not a common name, fortunately. He was a physicist. The only trouble is, Bob said he would remember him from Caltech. This individual, Bill,
never taught at Caltech. He only taught at Pierce Junior College. Now, Bob himself had mentioned Pierce to me on the phone.
So that just covers it
but beyond
real quick. But we can move
like,
on
just, like,
here
check
because
with
we always
LaSalle,
like to
Ray
have
Mullins.
a little
We're-
bit of
we're-
justice on our show. So this is how we like to end our shows, is with our topic of conversation, the fraud, the con men, getting a little bit of justice served. Those are my fart noises, not Lucy's. We like to have a match.
Whispers in the desert where the night stay chill. Reverse engineering, gravity to bend. Crash from the stars, man, science can't comprehend. Element 115, they said it's a myth. Now I'm at the lab making physics through a flip. Antimatter dreams.
Big shout out to Gummy Chainsaw for putting this together. And this sums up our position in the best possible way.
Break the chart. Tell us stories that'll raise the bar. Blah. Massages park like a cosmic ballet. And on the tech, making nine-stop sway. No seats for a pilot, no wires, no gas. They laughed in my face, said my fame won't last. Hushed by the feds, they erased my name.
And Gummy has arranged for Bob Lazar to fight a gray alien.
Nice. 51 couldn't hold me tight. Needles in my skin, set in my soul. Flip the switch, now I'm out of control. Scalpel dreams, cold hands in the dark. Now they run, I'm the spark in the park. Government lies, files locked in a vault. Cracked it open, now they face the assault. The gray sluice vengeance in my veins. Every beam of light just amplifies the pain. Occasionally put me thought of a bang, now I'm in the shadow. The gray. The gray. From the lab to the desert, ghosts in the sand. You're right, I
Can we put money on this right now?
We should, but it always has the exact same outcome.
I got the gray on this one. I don't know what the odds are.
It's quick. We always like for
taking the gray.
We just like to see the con man punched out or knocked out. There we go.
Nice. Don't tell me that was the finishing move.
Well, Natural Skeptical Robot, the intros are longer than the actual match.
Smart.
And just for good measure.
Triple power bomb.
Close shadows creeping the night. Area 51 couldn't hold me tight. Needles in my skin, set in my soul. Flip the switch, now I'm out of control.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much. We will go ahead and end it there. I appreciate you being here, Karl. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. You know, I had a question because I thought we were going to talk more alien stuff on the show, but have you guys ever looked into Dr. Stephen Greer?
I have.
Okay, is that a topic that you would cover on this show?
I would. I don't have any reason not to. He's it's funny because I can't figure him out. I can't figure out if he is a skeptic or if he's a believer, and sometimes he does seem to kind of.
What do you mean you don't know if he's a believer or not? He has documentaries where he shows all these people meditating together, and then all of a sudden all these lights from the sky show up, and you see it on the screen.
I have not seen that. Okay, well there you go.
Dude, you gotta look into Dr. Stephen Greer. It's wild.
I've only seen interviews with him, and
yeah, you gotta watch his documentaries.
Okay, well I've seen interviews with him where he talks about he believes aliens, but then he talks also a lot of shit about people who he believes are frauds. So I can't tell where he stands.
He also isn't sure if they're aliens or if it's just interdimensional beings, but he talks, he's a fascinating guy. And he actually does have a real educational background. He's a MD. He's a very smart guy. So worth looking into.
And we had a few people we were going to line up to have like a series about. the UFO fraudsters. Another guy is Lou Elizondo, who I knew nothing about before like a month ago. Just learned about him, and apparently he's also someone who's been discredited, but I don't really know all the details of that one. But apparently he was really a government worker. Do you know about this guy at all, Lou Elizondo?
A little bit, yeah. It's been a while since I've looked into that.
I don't know enough. And my intention was to do an introduction like this of several of them, and then have a like long form discussion of who had logical points, who can we like weed out from the fraudsters, and who really believes, because that really ultimately is something I'm curious about, of who really believes this. I don't believe Bob Lazar really believes in aliens. I think he was just in it as a fraud the entire time. But like you're saying, there might be something to Stephen Greer where maybe he can convince us of something. Not
JT
necessarily
says he's a
aliens.
fraudster, and JT in the chat says he's another fraudster. Well, maybe we should have JT on the show to talk about it.
JT's a troll.
JT's a great guy. Check him out.
JT has been a frequent guest. He's a frequent guest on the show. He's been on the show several times, but at the same time, he hates a lot of the topics I cover.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But thank you so much, Karl. If there is anything you would like to plug, please have at it, sir.
Yeah. Who Are These Podcasts is a show I do every Wednesday and Saturday. If you listen to the podcast, it comes out on Thursdays and Sundays. You can watch it live on our YouTube channel when you subscribe on our YouTube channel, or on patreon.com/Who Are These Podcasts. It's a show where we make fun of other people's podcasts. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, sir. And how about you, Gummy?
Hey, at Gummy Chainsaw, you can find me on X. That'll link you to everything, my YouTube. I just passed 50 subscribers, which is fucking shocking to me that anybody wants to hear anything I say while I game. I do a lot of horror gaming. I just picked up Silent Still 2, which is a sequel to the game that I did a couple weeks ago about sleep paralysis, which was fucking horrifying. This is supposed to be worse. So I'm going to do that, and another game called Chairbound, where you're strapped to a chair, like an office chair with a bomb, and you have 10 minutes to go to the first floor and get out because the bomb's ticking, and it looks horrifying also.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty cool game. For me, please check out luigigreenberg.com. And also on Sunday, Hackride Studios, we do Unboxing Eric at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then Unboxing Riley Martin and Unboxing Bigfoot it is on Thursdays. Hackride Studios channel. But that is it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. CORNdiff is not here to do his normal outro. Please go visit CORNdiff on YouTube and CORNdiff
also,
on
real
X.
quick.
Yo.
Shout out to Haley from Printing Anna Social. She gave me the cliff notes because I knew zero about Bob Lazar.
Oh, yeah.
Shout outs to you. She gave me a quick lesson before we went on tonight, so I had an idea more or less what we were going over.
She's
so
great. She's been in the chat
yeah,
all night.
she's amazing. Yeah, she's the homie.
She is great.
Yeah.
And yes, hopefully we will do a follow-up show after the hearings. Hopefully he will not get Aaron Imholt will not get another delay. That's bullshit.
Breaking news.
Breaking
news. Yeah.
That is ridiculous. I cannot see a court giving that to him, but who knows?
Who knows? They don't care.
I could see them giving it to him also. It's a total flip of the coin. Whatever.
Oh,
but I want this over with.
Speaking of Aaron, one more thing. I was very proud. I did a special last weekend for another game I played called Cuckold Simulator.
That's right.
Even if you don't like video games, trust me when I say watch it, because the parallels between the character and Aaron is fucking shocking. The things the guy says about how proud he is, like how other men want his wife, it's ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was weird.
I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yes, please check out Gummy Chainsaw's channels. But until next week, folks, thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Thank you to everyone who helped. Thank you to all of Karl's enemies who also helped contribute.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, did you have those all ready to go 2 weeks ago when I was supposed to be on?
I did.
You did, okay. Because then you had Andy and Kaylee on, so I wasn't sure if maybe they bought you more time, you were able to do that.
No. Yeah, they did those. They were all ready to go.
That is awesome. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone.
That was a great episode. That was really great.
Man,